All right, I think we're good to go. This webinar is being recorded, so I just want to bring that to your attention. Hello, and welcome to our webinar, IRA Cafe, a beginner's guide to individual retirement accounts. This webinar is part of Northwest's Financial Wellness Series. My name is Denise Kitchen, and I'm one of the relationship managers of the Retail Sales and Service Department. Our department manages the partnerships the credit union has with organizations so that they can offer credit union membership as part of their benefits package to their employees, members, and volunteers. First off, again, thank you so much for your interest in our webinar today. Secondly, some housekeeping items. Everyone is muted today due to the number of participants, and we ask that you hold your questions until the end of the presentation and then ask them via the chat feature when we get to our Q&A session. And you will find that feature on the bottom of your screen. If you don't want to post your question here, our email addresses will be displayed at the end so that you can pose them that way. You can also use your reactions button also at the bottom of your screen, right next to your chat button at any point during the presentation, just to kind of let us know how we're doing for you. We will also be raffling off a $25 Visa gift card after our Q&A session. So please make sure that you stay tuned until the very end. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Joanna Wilbur, our IRA Trust and Estate Accounts Manager, and Chris Greenhill, our Private Relationship Manager. And Chris will go ahead and start us off today. Chris, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Denise, and good afternoon, everyone. As Denise stated earlier, I'm the private relationship banker here at Northwest, and I want to first set some expectations of what we'll be partaking in today in our IRA Cafe. If you're like me, I'm sure you're looking forward to retirement. Most of us are even counting down the days. I have heard that retirement is referred to as the ultimate vacation when planned properly. As you probably know, if you want to have a great vacation, though, you're going to need to have a good plan in place. So today we'll talk about the two different retirement account options, traditional and Roth IRAs. There are more options, but today's focus will be a beginner's guide to retirement savings. So in the spirit of lunchtime, our lunchtime together, we'll visit a few lunchtime favorite items and provide you with some ingredients that have you full and satisfied in retirement. We will show you the differences and similarities in the two fan favorite retirement menu options. So let's get started. So let's start here with the bread. The bread is what truly makes a sandwich great. So to build a great sandwich, you're going to need great bread. An IRA is great bread, which and it represents your foundation for saving and the benefits that it brings. When you reach retirement, you're going to want to feel secure about it, right? You're going to want to know that you're not going to outlive your savings account. You're going to be able to do the things that you would like to do. You want to be financially secure. Financial security for most people means being able to pay your bills, buy those little or big things that make you happy and hopefully have a little bit left over after that. Most of us want to be fortunate, most of us won't be fortunate enough to win the lottery. So most of us are going to have to save and work. So because you won't get any loans in retirement, you're going to need to put money aside so that you can have the lifestyle that you desire. So either that money is going to come from your retirement accounts or your employer savings account or investment accounts. Any of those will likely shoulder most of the load for your retirement income needs. There's a quote that I heard once that there is no one that can guarantee your security and financial independence or lifestyle better than you. So it's going to require your effort to put those things into action to accomplish the goals that you have for yourself later on in life. The IRAs that we'll talk about today will be great tools for you to save for retirement. Just like starting to build a great sandwich, it starts with having great bread. So what is an IRA? An IRA, or an individual retirement account, is a tax advantage way to save for retirement. So one might ask, what's the advantage of saving in an IRA versus, I don't know, my savings account? Well, you ever been to a bakery? So the bread at a bakery is a little bit different than the bread that you might get off the aisle at a grocery store, right? It's going to have certain perks and benefits to eating that type of bread. So while your money is being saved in an IRA, you are not paying taxes on its growth until that money is withdrawn. This allows your money to grow faster than paying taxes annually on that growth. So remember getting that 1099 at the end of the year? That won't happen here. Additionally, the magic number that you're going to want to keep in mind with IRAs is 59 and a half. I'm going to say it again, 59 and a half, 59 and a half. This is the magical number needed for you to get the most tax benefits out of your retirement accounts, okay? Because that is the age you need to meet to be able to avoid tax penalties when you take money out of it. So what about adding money to an IRA? You can add up to $6,500 a year if you're under the age of 50. This is $500 more than last year. But wait, there's more. If you're over 50, you can contribute up to $7,500. That's $1,000 more. The two most common IRAs are traditional and Roth IRAs, which we'll be diving in today. Okay. So for even the most seasoned chef, most, if not all, have had the opportunity to experience the classic peanut butter and jelly. I see no reason why we shouldn't start with the basics here. PB&J will represent our traditional IRA. We've established that IRA represents the foundational bread for our retirement sandwich, but I want to give you a quick little history lesson about traditional IRAs. A traditional IRA is an individual retirement arrangement established in the United States by the Employer Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. So Congress identified a greater need for people to save for retirement and created the traditional IRA. Traditional IRAs were created to encourage people to save and reward people for doing so. So who would this peanut butter and jelly traditional IRA be suited for? The Roth IRA has income limits and rules, which you'll hear about a little bit later. For folks who make too much money to qualify for a Roth, this is where a traditional IRA may be beneficial. There's no income limit on traditional IRAs to qualify. If you believe that you will have a lower income in retirement than you do currently, that might be another reason to lean more towards a traditional IRA. Now, you have to have earned income. This is the money that you've earned for the work that you do. It used to be at a certain age that you couldn't contribute anymore once you reached a certain age, but that has gone away as of 2020. Additionally, if you file jointly, earned income can also be contributed by money that your spouse earns. So that's something you definitely want to keep in mind as you're contributing or wanting to make contributions to an IRA. I wanted to touch on one other point. I believe statistically that people are now changing jobs 10 to 15 times over their careers. Many of those jobs offer 401k plans with matching dollars. It is best to max out your benefits there before contributing to an IRA. Don't leave money on the table for those matching funds. Don't leave that money there. Definitely max out there and then make contributions to your IRA. So what happens when you leave the job, right? You generally have a few options to choose from. You can take the money out and pay taxes and penalties on the funds. Please, please, please don't do that. Okay, you definitely want to avoid that by all means. So I'm going to give you these other options here as well. So you can leave the money where it is. But again, 10 to 15 accounts might be a lot to manage, right? And thirdly, and the most popular is to move the money to an IRA. This is not a taxable event. This will allow you to continue to save and grow your money in a tax advantage way. So when you're putting your PB&J together, you know you're going to have to need a couple of ingredients, right? And as you know, there aren't many. So what the ingredients are for a traditional IRA sandwich that we've created today is our peanut butter. That's our tax deferred growth potential. This is great because while your money is growing, you're not being taxed. This period of time between when you add funds and how long the funds are in the account play a significant role in how quickly you can reach your savings target. By not having to pay taxes along the way, your money grows even faster. Now for the jelly, that's the tax deductible contributions. When you add money to your traditional IRA in a lump sum or systematically based on your income, you may also qualify to reduce the amount of taxes that you would otherwise pay now. So instead of paying taxes now, you pay them later. For many people, this is beneficial because they will be in a lower income tax bracket in retirement than they are while they were working. So earlier I spoke about how the contributions to a traditional IRA may be tax deductible. This chart shows you based on your income and how you will file your taxes if you qualify to deduct fully, partial, or not at all. So if you're single and your income is less than $73,000, you will get a full deduction on your contributions. You see that number rise to $116,000 for married filing jointly. Okay, while certainly cost effective, even PB&Js aren't free. We know that the government is not going to give you something for nothing, right? There has to be some catch in the program. There's no free lunch here. You can start to answer this question or ask why by understanding why these rules or limits are in place by asking yourself, well, why do these things exist? Why do we have these limits? Because our tax code tries to give those who they determine benefits most from these types of tax breaks. For example, not everyone qualified for stimulus during COVID or tax breaks for buying a home. People with wealth will ideally always have enough money. Folks at lower incomes are the ones that will need more opportunities to save for retirement, so they receive more breaks or more breaks are provided to them to do so. So I spent some time talking about adding money to the traditional IRA, but what about when it's time to take money out? Some of us out here may not even need the money in our IRAs for a longer period of time than others. But our government drew a line in the sand at age 73. At age 73, they say, okay, that's long enough. Time to start taking money out. This time and transactional withdrawals are called your RMD, your required minimum distribution. Also, remember, when you contribute funds to a traditional IRA, you potentially receive a tax deduction. Well, now, when you take that money out, you pay taxes at your current tax rate. But what if you need to take money out before 59 and a half? Well, if you do this, you're going to pay a 10% tax penalty on the amount that you withdrew. But there are a few exceptions. So here's a list of the exceptions to avoid the 10% penalty. Notice that I only mentioned the penalty here because you can take money out without paying the 10% penalty, but you will still have to pay taxes. You always will have to pay taxes with these types of accounts when you take money out. These are the exceptions to avoid the penalty. If you're buying your first home, paying for certain medical expenses, qualifying college costs, or death or disability. Okay, so we always advise here at Northwest that you speak with a tax professional to ensure that if you're taking money out, that you be best informed if you will be paying taxes, or if you will be paying a penalty or not, and how much taxes that you're likely to have to pay. So now that we spent time building the classic PB&J, it's time to kick things up a notch with Roth IRAs. My expert, Joanna, will take it from here. Take it away, Joanna.
Thanks, Chris. I really do appreciate that.
That's no problem.
All righty. So now we come to the hoagie roll, the sub, the big mamma jamma, the Roth IRA. Okay. So the Roth IRA is a little bit different. It's still an individual retirement account. All right. But it has a little bit more jazz to it, a little secret sauce. And the secret sauce with the Roth IRA is the ability not to have to pay taxes when you take this money out. That's the secret sauce on the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA came into being in 1997 by the Senator Daniel Roth. One of the reasons that it came up with this scheme is because one of the main reasons that people say that they are concerned about saving for retirement and locking the money up for so long, you know, we're looking at 20, 30, maybe 40 years, is because if an emergency happens, I can't get to my money. What happens without, you know, severe tax consequences? Remember, Chris said that you take the money out of a traditional IRA, if you're under age 59 and a half, you are taxed. You are penalized. So let's say you are 35 years old and you take out $10,000. You're 35 years old. If you're taking out of a non-qualified, for non-qualified reasons, let's say you just have a bill that's not medical expenses or pay for tuition at higher education, you can be paying taxes at almost 40 or 50% of what you have can be coming out between your tax rate, if you're a high income individual, and also the additional 10% penalty. So it can be quite substantial. So how do we get folks who are middle class, lower middle class to save for retirement? We say, okay, your money can grow tax free and tax deferred, okay, but you won't get a tax deduction for it. And also, maybe we're not gonna, you always get a hold of your contributions, all right? However, you will not be able to deduct it, okay? So remember, with the traditional IRA, you could perhaps deduct the contributions that you make. Also, there's no income limit. So the Roth IRA is supposed to be for middle income and lower income people, which is why we have these income limits. So if you, once you make over that $138,000 if you're single, or if you're over $218,000, once you make over that dollar figure, you can no longer make a contribution into a Roth. So those are the, you know, the trade-offs that you're getting for doing that. So who's a Roth best suited for, right? One, you have to have earned income, or your spouse has to have earned income and you need to be married filing jointly for that. It's best suited for individuals who would like tax-free money when they go to take this money out at age 59 and a half. Cool thing about the Roth is once you hit age 59 and a half, and that Roth has been open for at least 5 years, that money comes out tax-free. You have your income limits. You don't need the tax deduction. Maybe you already contribute to your 401k plan at work, which everybody should be doing, and you make over a certain dollar figure and you can no longer take the tax deduction for contributing to a traditional IRA, but you still meet the income limits for a Roth. Definitely you put your money into a Roth. Some of the advantages of the Roth, like I said, tax-free growth. Contributions can be withdrawn at any time with no restrictions. Doesn't matter. You don't have those rules that you need in order to make a qualified withdrawal. If you want $5,000 or $6,000 or $20,000 out of your Roth IRA and you are age 40 years old and you have put in over time at least $20,000 or $40,000 in contributions, you can take that money out whenever you like. It does not matter what the reason is. And those contributions always come out tax-free. Why is that? Because you never were eligible to take a deduction for it. These are non-deductible contributions, okay? Now, however, with the Roth IRA, you pay taxes on the earnings if you are under age 59 and a half and the Roth IRA has not been open for at least 5 years. So there are two things. Has a Roth been open for at least 5 years and you need to be over age 59 and a half? That will give you tax-free withdrawals for anything. It does not matter. Contributions and earnings. So that is a big deal. So that is a big plus. So if everybody wants to have a Roth, how do we get that? One, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. As long as you have earned income and you meet the income limits, you can contribute to a Roth. Like I told you, we have income limits. We have $138,000 to $153,000. That's the phase out. If you make under $138,000, you can contribute the full dollar figure, $6,500 if you're under age 50, and $7,500 if you're over age 50. In between that, okay, you can contribute up to $150,000 if you make over $150,000, $153,000. Once you hit that dollar figure, you can no longer make any contributions to a Roth. Not possible. If you're married filing jointly, once you make over $228,000, you cannot make any contributions to a Roth whatsoever. The phase out range, $138,000 to $153,000 and $218,000 to $228,000, essentially for every $1,000, kind of formula, for every $1,000 you're over in the phase out, you lose about $200 worth of contributory capacity. That's what you can. So that by the time you get to 228, 153,000, you can no longer make a contribution. The other cool thing about a Roth IRA is that there are no required minimum distributions. So age 73 comes and goes, doesn't matter. You can still continue to make your contributions if you want to, and you do not have to take out those funds once you hit age 73. So withdrawals coming out, like I said, one, no required minimum distribution. Tax-free withdrawals as long as you're over age 59 and a half and the Roth IRA has been open for at least 5 years. And you don't have to have the Roth at that particular institution. You just must have had a Roth for at least 5 years. So for example, let's say you bring money over to Northwest Federal because we have fabulous rates, and we do, but you had a Roth over at Bank of America for the past 10, 15 years, but you bring your money over to us. And so on our records, okay, it looks like you've only had a Roth for maybe 1 year or 6 months, but the IRS knows that you have had a Roth for at least 5 years over there at Bank of America, because that was reported to the IRS over time. So it doesn't matter where you've had that Roth for at least 5 years, as long as you had that Roth for 5 years. Then the 10% early withdrawal penalty, that only affects the earnings in a Roth if you are under age 59 and a half. And you have also, if you have not had the Roth for the 5 years. So if you're under age 59 and a half, let's go back to that $5,000 example. So let's say you had $5,000 in your Roth IRA, you are 35 years old, and that $5,000 has earned $100. So now your balance on your Roth IRA is $5,100. You can go in and take out $1,000 if you want to. That money comes out tax-free, no problem, no harm, no foul, okay, because it's contributions. You can go back to the well, take out another $1,000, take out another $1,000. You hit that $5,000, okay? Now you get to the $100 in the earnings. That is what you pay the taxes on. That's what you pay the taxes on your 1040 form. So you are taxed on $100 only, and you only have to pay the additional 10% penalty on $100. So that's a pretty good deal. Once again, like I said, that's a pretty good deal for the Roth. So some exceptions to the early withdrawal penalties. Remember, on the taxes that you'll have to pay on the earnings, first-time home purchase, certain medical expenses, qualifying higher education costs, and death and disability. The certain medical expenses, those are pretty hefty, okay? You will still pay the taxes on it, but you can avoid the penalty. but the certain medical expenses, that is 7.5% of your gross annual wage. So that's a large dollar figure. So that's somebody who's having really significant medical expenses for the year. So how do you decide which one is best for you? You know, the traditional IRA or the Roth IRA? So the traditional IRA, do you need an upfront tax deduction? For some people, it makes more sense if you qualify, take that tax deduction. Is your income over the Roth limit? Okay, do you make over that $228,000 married filing jointly? You know, do you hit that? You hit that limit? Are you transferring your money from a 401k plan, TSP, 403b, okay, or simple IRA that you had in an old job? Now, the rules have changed. You can contribute that money into a Roth if you want to, which is great. However, if you do indeed do a transfer from a 401k plan, a regular 401k plan, or from the TSP, or from a 403b directly into a Roth IRA, that is a taxable event in the year that you do that. So you, as you well know, 401k plans, let's say you leave one job and go to another one, all right, and you are 35 years old, you don't pay the penalty. Let's say you move that $20,000 over from your old 401k plan, okay, into a Roth. You can do that regardless of how much money you make. However, you were taxed at your ordinary income rate for whatever that may be in that tax year. So let's say you make $60,000 a year, okay, and you transfer $20,000 from your 401k plan directly into a Roth. Well, now the government says that you make $80,000 a year, and that's how you that is how you are taxed. So that can be quite a shock for folks. Okay, so transferring it, however, into a traditional IRA, doing a direct transfer there from your 401k plan or TSP or whatever, that is a non-taxable event, reportable but not taxable. So the Roth IRA, is your income within the IRS limits for the Roth? Do you want to have tax-free income in retirement? That's also very important, because in this area, we live in a high cost of living area, all right? It takes a lot of money to live here. So that means that maybe your tax rate, once you hit retirement, will not be that low. For a lot of places, for a lot of people, it is lower. Once you stop working, it is lower. But in this area, for a lot of folks, it's not. Think about this. In Fairfax County, just, you know, keeping the lights on, getting things done, they figure that you need at least $80,000 in order to do that. That's still pretty high in the tax bracket as far as that goes, okay? Do you want to have access to your contributions at any time for any reason without paying any taxes or penalty? That's the Roth, is the one for you. Do you participate in your employer's retirement plan? The answer to that is yes, okay? That means that for a lot of folks that they cannot take the tax deduction if they also contribute to their 401k plan because there are income limits on that, okay? So that's when you need to know. That will help you parse what might be best for you, okay? And as long as, like I said, as long as you meet the income limits, you can always contribute to that Roth, as long as you have earned income. So how do you get started? So, Joanna, how do I'm loving this. The really cool things about IRAs at Northwest Federal Credit Union, we have no fees here. At, you know, at Fidelity, other places, there might be a $50 a year minimum fee. We don't have any dollar limits. Here, you can invest in IRA savings accounts and IRA certificates of deposit. Since we don't have any minimums, you can contribute whenever you like. So some people, sometimes they get bonuses, but maybe they got a bonus last year and they want to contribute some of that bonus into their IRA, but this year they didn't get a bonus. That's fine. So they don't want to make a contribution into an IRA. That's okay. You can skip with us. It's not required that you do that. So that's how you would get started. You just need the IRA application that you can get from our website, or you can go stop into one of our branches and open up an IRA. You can open it with a zero balance. And now we have finished with all of our lunchtime excitement. And I'm going to turn it back over to Denise. And here we are. for any questions that
Awesome.
we may have.
Awesome. Thank you so much to both of you. This was a wealth of information, really, really good topic, and obviously very timely for tax season to come around to talk about IRAs a little bit. So now it is time for our Q&A session. So if you guys want to open up your chat, again, it's on the bottom of your screen. You'll see a little bubble with a chat. You want to open that and start getting your typing fingers ready and ask your questions so that we can see them. I did get some questions beforehand, so I would like to start with some of those until we get someone in from our attendees. So the first question I have is my 401k Roth the same as my regular IRA, and do they have the same income limits?
No, your 401k Roth and your 401k are two different animals. You cannot contribute directly from a 401k Roth into like a regular traditional IRA. They have different income limits. So that's $7,500, the contribution limits, $7,500. You're on the limits for your 401k plan, which is 15% of your gross wage, or 25%, depending upon where you are. And there are no income limits. So as long as you can contribute to the 401k plan, you can contribute in those contribution limits, no problem.
Okay, excellent. So we actually did get a question from an attendee. Do you provide services for Roth IRA accounts?
No. Those are employer accounts. Your employer is the one who sets up a Roth 401k plan or any type of 401k plan. Those are employer-sponsored plans. So they can only be done through your employer, 403bs, all that kind of stuff. Those are called qualified plans. IRAs are set up for the individual.
Okay. And I just got a message that the chat is disabled. I thought it was the other way around. So go ahead and pose your questions in the Q&A where you already typed. So I'm going to say that we answered that one. Next question is, if I start a Roth now, can I use the same one to convert my regular IRA info? Would it start the 5-year clock now?
Yes, it would. If you started a Roth now, even if you didn't make any contributions to it, that starts the 5-year clock.
Awesome. Next question. Can I contribute to S&P market bonds through WFCU IRA accounts?
No, but Chris is the man who you want to talk to.
Yes, he is.
Yes. Yes. Just reach out to me and I can.
Yeah.
Credit unions by law cannot offer stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. We can only offer savings products such as certificates of deposit and IRA savings.
And can one of you put the presentation back up so we can see that last slide with your information, with your email information, et cetera, so that people can email you?
I'll take care of it.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
Chris.
you.
Another question. If I'm already 60, about to close a legal settlement from a car accident, which IRA is best?
So that is not earned income. So if you have earned income for this year, you could make a contribution, but a car settlement is not considered earned income, so would not be eligible for an IRA.
And don't forget about
Let's say you had a
spouse as
job.
well.
Go ahead, Chris, go ahead.
I was going to say, don't forget about spouse as well. So
Right, maybe you're right, that's true. Maybe your spouse has a job. And as long as it's not over the $7,500 or $6,500, you can make a contribution into, like I said, it all depends on what it is you're trying to do.
So if you had income and you had proceeds from a car accident settlement, then you could contribute to the IRA, but you have to have that income. That's the main piece.
Correct.
Right. Okay, great. Next question. How do you add money to the IRA account?
Any way you want to. You can make checks.
Yeah, a la carte, right?
Exactly.
A la carte, right?
If you got money, we want to take it. So there we are. So you can set up a pre-authorized transfer.
You can visit us.
Exactly. You can give me a check. You can give us pennies. Whatever. So you can do it by check. You cannot, however, do it via online banking. You cannot make a contribution via online banking, but you can do an automatic payment that comes out of your paycheck and comes into Northwest. You can do pre-authorized transfers from an account here at Northwest, and you can also always come into a branch or mail us in contributions.
That's right.
Excellent, great. And again, guys, if you have more questions about who to contact me, or and I'm going to put my information in the chat. I'm sure you guys can still see that even though you may not have access, but Joanna and Chris were all willing to answer questions. The next question, is there an income limit for married filing jointly for traditional IRA and one spouse's contribution
Contributes to a 401k plan?
Yeah.
There is. I'm looking at my cheat sheet now. Hold, please.
16.
It is for tax year 2023. That limit is still $228,000. You won't be able to deduct.
That's the phase out.
Okay. And someone is asking, please provide clarification for the Roth IRA for the income limits of 138 to 152,000. I make over 140,000 per year, and it appears that I'm not eligible for the Roth. Is that correct?
So you make over 130 or 135?
She makes over 140.
140, 40?
Yes.
Okay, so you make $140,000 a year gross. You can still contribute to a Roth IRA. You just will not be able to contribute the full contribution amount. If you're under age 50, it will be, remember I said essentially for every $1,000 that you're over that $135,000, you lose about $200 worth of interest, worth of contribution capacity. So in your case, it may not be worth it to contribute to a Roth IRA simply because you might only be able to contribute, like $1,000 or $2,000. It would make more sense to contribute to the traditional IRA. However, you can always contribute to both, as long as you do not go over the contribution limit. The IRS does not care. So let's say the amount that you can legally contribute to the Roth IRA is only $1,000. That's fine. Put $1,000 into the Roth IRA, and then you can contribute the other, $6,000, $5,500 in, if you're under age 50, into a traditional IRA. You can totally do that. You just have to keep track of what it is that you're doing.
Gotcha. Next question, we have 4 more. If I have my former employer-sponsored 401k in another brokerage account, will I need to close that before transferring to NWFCU IRA?
Nope. You can open up the IRA with a zero balance.
And you don't have to close out. Well, I don't know if it need clarification about, do they have to close out the account to move the money over? I think that's going to be based on that plan, if they will allow for partial transfer versus.
That's what I was thinking. Is it a transfer, or is it, are they trying to have both? So, yeah, if you want to pose that question to us via email, we can certainly do that.
Right.
What was the limit for contributing to the IRA account again?
The contribution limit is $7,500 if you are over age 50, and $6,500 if you are under age 50.
Okay. Next question, is the income limit before or after taxes?
It is before taxes.
Okay. What is the advisor fee listed under transactions?
No.
We don't have an advisor fee.
No.
Not
Have
for,
an advisor fee.
not for banking IRAs. No.
Yeah, not for credit union IRAs. No.
Yeah, no.
Like, nope.
Another reason why you might want to choose us, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like they may have one through an advisor. Yeah.
Right. If you have an advisor, then you may have an advisor fee, but there's no advisor fee on the IRAs here.
Yeah.
Right. Next question, married filing jointly, AGI is adjusted gross income is 219,000. Both participants contribute to the standard 401k through employers. We should contribute to a traditional, correct?
Well, if you don't want, you said that your Magi was what? How much was it?
219,000.
219,000.
Both of them contributes to their.
Yeah, I mean,
401k through their
like I said,
employers.
if you don't, you can't take the deduction. Yeah, makes more sense.
What exactly happens if you accidentally go over an IRA contribution limit?
Well, that's exciting. It can be. So it depends on how quickly you catch it. So I can tell you what the rules are for the penalties. So the penalties are pretty steep. If you over contribute to an IRA, as long as that over contribution amount is in that IRA, you are taxed at 6% over contribution for as long as that money stays in that IRA. Okay, so let's say you don't realize that you've over contributed for, say, 5 years. Well, the government's coming after you at 6% each year, plus penalties and interest. So you don't want to do that. Now, you take it out, there's something called an excess contribution withdrawal. Let's say you figure out that, I put in too much money. I could not put in the full $6,500 because I only made $3,000. But you figure that out doing your taxes next year. Great. There's an excess contribution process that you go to from the financial institution where your IRA is, and you take the money out. No problem. It's coded. You get a 1099-R showing that this was an excess contribution, and no harm, no foul. Taken care of. That's how that works.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for that. And then does any IRA include interest?
Yes, all IRAs include interest. Sometimes it's really small, but it is included.
It does include. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any questions. I think we've answered.
They've been getting better as of late.
Yeah,
exactly. Rates are starting to come up. They're starting to come up.
A little bit. Yes, so we're doing a little better. I think we're done with the questions. So yay. Good job. We answered all of them. Again, guys, if you have any more questions that you come up with after the fact, please make sure that you email Chris, Joanna, or myself, and we'll get those questions answered for you. Now to the exciting part, the raffle question. Ding, ding, ding. So
ding, ding, ding.
Get your typing fingers ready. And since the chat feature for some reason is not working, just type in your answers in the Q&A feature here, like we have the questions. So, question, drum roll, please. What's the age for requirement minimum distribution for R&D this year? First one to answer correctly will get a $25 Visa gift card. And we have a winner already. Good job. Yay.
Well done. Well done.
All right. So the age for required minimum distribution R&D is 73. And the first one to answer correctly is Vicky. And Vicky, I have your information from your registration. And hold on, I got to put on my glasses so I can see my last screen. After the chat, and get your information, your address, etc., so I can send that to you along with some goodies. There's a bunch of really correct answers coming after. So good job, everyone. Everybody was paying attention. So that's great. And again, like I said in the chat, this recording will be sent to all registrants. So you guys will receive this so you can watch it again at your leisure and take notes there as well. And you'll have our contact information in there again. All right. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Chris. You guys are awesome as always. And we will see you again next week.
Great. Right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yes, everyone.
Thank you.